Have you ever had that light bulb moment when you learned something new and it completely altered the way that you saw yourself, your business, and your life? And then it made you change the course of your life because of that one moment. Well, that happened to me. And I want to share with you what that was and how it completely changed the way I saw myself, what I did with my business, and that I knew I needed a new path. When I was in my 9th year in my photography business, I was ready to quit my job, and I thought that this was the path for me, and that my photography was my passion, that I loved doing it, and that this was going to be something I'm going to do for the next 20 years. And as I was doing that, I quit my day job so that I can take on photography full time. So I knew that I had to quit my engineering job, do this photography full time, and that was gonna be my passion. That was gonna be my sole income. As I love to grow and learn and always reading, I read this book by Robert Kyosaki called The Cash Flow Quadrant. It completely changed my life. In that book, it basically goes over this main concept, and I want to share this with you and how it completely changed my life. There's 4 quadrants of how people actually earn money. The first one is called the E quadrant, and that's actually being an employee. That's what I had at my engineering job. Basically, you're trading your time for money, and somebody dictates how much money you can make. The S quadrant is a quadrant where you are self-employed, and that's what I was in my photography business, right? I worked for myself, and I was trading time for money. And just like an attorney is self-employed, photographer, anybody that provides a service and to do a business, they are self-employed. And then there's the I quadrant, which is where it's called the investor quadrant, where your money is making money for you. And then that's like investing in real estate. That's like investing in stocks. And then the B quadrant is when you own a business that you're leveraging other people's time for money, just like a Smoothie King business or like a restaurant, right? So you're not necessarily working in there every day. Other people are working the day in, day out operations of the business while you could sit back and actually earn the money. Hey there, sorry to interrupt the video, but I wanted to share with you a new resource and a new free training that I've created just for you. So if you are actually in any phase of your business and you're overwhelmed by all the things you're having to do as a business owner, as a new entrepreneur, and you're not sure what you need to focus on in your business, well, I have this training where it actually walks you through in a worksheet and a 15-minute video training where I walk you through step by step through the worksheet and help you figure out what phase of business you're truly in and then what you need to focus on in each of those phases so that you are actually taking action on the things that truly move the needle in your business and not just doing everything that because it makes you feel that you're busy, but it actually makes a difference in your business. So if you're interested in the free training, just click the link below. Training is actually called the Roadmap to Your First 100K. I'm super excited about it. I hope you enjoy it. Take care. Wasn't shooting, our business was not making money. And so when I sold the business and when I sold my photography, they wanted Trung at the photo shoot. They wanted Trung at the wedding. So I couldn't actually scale myself out of the business. I will always have to be the sole provider. And so I just had that, I can't continue doing this because I can only shoot so many weddings, right? And there's only so many weekends in the year, and I don't want to book every single weekend of the year shooting weddings. And so I was income limited just by the fact that I couldn't scale myself. And that was that big aha moment for me. And that at that moment, I made the decision that I actually had to close down the business. But I actually had a whole full year's worth of weddings that I needed to shoot before I can finish and close up for the rest of forever. But I really had to make that decision. And when I did, it was so scary because it was my identity. For the last 10 years, I was known as an engineer, but also as a photographer. I shot weddings, and I was a renowned photographer in Houston. I had ads up. A lot of people knew me, and they knew that I was a photographer. So a lot of my friends on my social media, I was posting about weddings, about shooting, about photography all the time. And so that was my identity. So for me to actually make the decision to actually walk away from this it's this profession that actually was partly also my identity was incredibly tough. But I had a vision, I had a dream of what I truly wanted in my life. And I knew that on the current path, on the vehicle that I was using, it would never get me there. The one thing that I took solace in when I quit my business, and it took me years to reconcile this with this actually, was that I had to understand that there are seasons in my life, and each business serves a part of that season, or it is a season of your life to learn from this business, and then that you're ready to let it go when it doesn't serve you anymore. And I understood that my photography business, that whole last 10 years, served to teach me about photography, teach me about client relationships, teaching about actually just how to run a business, because that was my first true business that I ever built. And I built it for 10 years and I was making over 6 figures. So I actually had a fairly successful business. I really enjoyed it. I loved it. But I knew that in my next phase, it was never going to get me where I needed to be. And I knew that if I had to stay true to my vision, my goal, long-term goal in life to achieve financial freedom, that this vehicle was no longer going to serve me. And when I made that realization, I was finally at peace, because I wasn't feeling like I was a failure for quitting a business that I was actually passionate about. But I truly knew that if I stay aligned with the vision of my life, that this wasn't going to get me there. So what was the next step for me in this journey? Well, I realized that I actually had to build a business. What does that mean? What is the difference between a self-employed and a business, right? I said a business is when you actually leverage other people's time for your money. Every business will probably start out, or most business will start out with you being the sole service provider until you can actually hire employees and then scale yourself out of the business. The big difference with my photography business was I was built into the main line of product delivery, meaning being the photographer. So I knew that the next business I create was not going to be something that required my special skills to actually run the business and be in the main chain of operations, where if I wasn't there, it wouldn't be operational. So fast forward a couple years, I had the opportunity to buy into a Smoothie King franchise restaurant. I knew that this was the next step for me, because I knew that I wasn't going to be sitting there every day in the smoothie shop making smoothies. I knew that I can leverage a lot of people to be making smoothie and running the operations every day in the business. And so that was a big difference, because in my photography business, I was making about 6 figures in my revenue, but I was taking home maybe $50,000 at the most on a really, really good year. But in my in my Smoothie King business, my gross revenues after the first year and a half was $500,000. And so like I could take home $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 in profit, but I was only working like 4 hours a week. So I went from making working 40 to 50 hours a week to making $70,000, $80,000 for working 4, 5, 10 hours a week at the most. So the key takeaways from today are that if you are building a business where you are the sole service provider that nobody else can replicate, then you're never going to be able to scale yourself out of the business. And for some people, if they're artists or things like that, that's okay. But just understand that you're never going to truly be able to scale this business, because you are always going to be limited by the time you're able to spend in your business that you can create what you do and create that experience for your client. So if you're looking to want to scale, wanting to build a business beyond you, you have to understand that you have to be able to build a business where you can actually leverage other people's time for your money. And how do you do that? Well, there's a couple ways to do that. You can build a business just like a business where other people could provide the service to your customers, just like a Smoothie King business. You don't actually have to open a restaurant, but there are many businesses where you can teach other people to deliver the service as well. Another way to do it is to be able to package your knowledge into a course, into a digital product of some kind, just like coaching businesses where they teach one-to-many, or they package their knowledge into an online course where people can take it and they can sell the digital course. It doesn't cost them anything after they actually create the course, but they can scale it to infinite numbers because it's all digital. The last lesson I want to leave you guys with is be sure to be clear on the vision of what you want in your life, your long-term goal of where you truly want to be. Because without that, I would not have been able to make the tough decision to actually exit a business where I was at that time very passionate about. But my long-term vision for my life superseded everything. And I realized that without that guiding light, I was never going to be able to make that type of decision and actually be at peace with it. So make sure that you guys build and create a vision for what your life is and what your ultimate life will look like, and use that as a guiding light whenever you make decisions about your business, your life, your relationships. If you guys got value out of today, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, please. And if you have some friends that are entrepreneurs that are on their journey as well and you think would benefit from this kind of material, please share the video. It would help grow our community. And don't forget to like it, because I hope you guys got a bunch of value out of today. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.